Welcome back to the Tiger Gear Hangout. This is Mike. I'm coming at you with the weekly news and review for January 29th, 2023. 2023, we've got some great Transformer news as always. I think Transformers might just be the biggest franchise out there. There's a few things going on for G.I. Joe that we are going to talk about this week. Some interesting stuff with Dungeons & Dragons, but I've got to tell you, I'm kind of concerned. I'll express those. Several things going on with the Masters of the Universe, and it's a little interesting yet perplexing. Very little Star Wars news, so I assume it's all being saved for this fan stream. And sort of good news, you might not get a 1099K if you sold under the 20,000 threshold. I'll explain why after the credits roll, because a lot of people get mad when you talk about political facts, and I don't want anyone mad. So we won't talk about it during the news. It's after the news is over, the credits roll. If you stick around, it's all on you. Let's talk about this and more coming up. Alright, so what's going on at Show Z? Not a whole lot new for new pre-orders popping up this week versus last week, but there is some stuff on sale. This is the Nightbird is now down to 110 from 160. That is 31% off. 24 days of this sale to go, or it sells out. Also, I just noticed the price on the DX9 Carry, the D06M metallic version. This is the only other hot rod other than the MP09, and it is 106 bucks. I thought it was 140 or 160 like it was last time it was out, and 106 is not a bad price if you don't want to mess with the MP09, which I think the MP09 looks a little better, but this is an very impressive, because it's kind of an all-in-one trailer kind of thing. And the official Takara Tomy Masterpiece MP57 Skyfire should start coming into stock pretty soon, I think, at places, but it is $270 at Show Z. Okay, so there's a ton of pictures of this MP57 Skyfire from Takara that's coming out, and I have to admit that I think it looks pretty good. And I'm going to save my pluses and my minuses for my review because I do look forward to getting this, and I plan on having a lot to say about it and a lot of comparisons, all that kind of stuff. But the comparison I really want to see even before I get it, I would like to see it compared to Fans Toys Phoenix. I think that's what everyone wants to see, but this is next to the Siege version of the Skyfire Jetfire that was at retail, and I actually thought it'd be a bit bigger than this, and so with that I'm a little surprised. Maybe it's shorter than I think, but then again, I guess I need to get my Phoenix and compare it to this guy, but still, it's a nice-looking bot. The package, it's a pretty big box. Now, the MP44 box is already pretty large. This box is pretty large, and then, well, RC is a small box, so interesting comparison right there. Sliding into the Gerwalk mode. So here it is in the Gerwalk mode. This is one of those things where it's kind of touching on the Jetfire aspect where you can do a Gerwalk mode if you want to, and you can change up the backpack to where it's sort of split instead of just one backpack. It's split. So some of those things that are touchy when it comes to Bandai and all of that, and then Harmony Gold. So I think Takara knows how to walk the line, or I hope they do. Here's the alt mode. It's a pretty big alt mode. I'm not really sure what this is next to it, but it's pretty big, it's pretty clean overall, and very, very tuned. Gives you the tuned vibes, the tuned feels. I hear it's not that bad of a transformation, but then I guess I need to watch that video. Here it is next to a Seeker, and it is not too much bigger than a Seeker, like lengthwise and widthwise, but it's much thicker. So it kind of compacts in quite a bit, pretty much like most of these do. Now I think this picture kind of answers one of my questions. Is there going to be some metallic paint on these? This does look like a lot of flat plastic, not even paint. There is a little bit of paint that I can see here and there, but it does look more or less flat. The X-Transboss figures that are about this size and this scale, they are very well painted. So that kind of set an expectation. And I think these will stand out. These are supposed to look more cartoon, I bet, anyway, but they'll stand out versus the X-Transboss, which will shine. These probably will not. So we got more pictures of the Toy Easy JS02, and this is going to be a pretty big figure overall. This is that battleship, and yeah, it looks pretty good. Looks pretty decent for a battleship. Let's see how he sizes up next to an MP10. and Optimus Prime. They're all about the same height, the same size. This does sort of have a little bit of bulkiness next to the old MP10, and he does tower over it quite a bit. But here is what he looks like in his battleship mode. And so this is the JS02. Look at all the detail that goes into it. And if you really zoom in on all this stuff, there's just detail everywhere. And it looks very much like what you'd expect to see. Who sunk my... That's not really a battleship, is it? That's looks like an aircraft carrier versus... and then the battleship's next to it. So I guess I got that one wrong. Aircraft carrier, battleship. And so here's the two. This is 01 and 02 side by side. And so they're pretty good size vehicles and pretty good size vessels over there. And I don't know if it comes with those little helicopters that are on top of it or not, but still interesting that they're making battleships and they're making aircraft carriers. Kind of a lot of fun. Okay, so there's a fans project KA-13 Petrol Casualty. So I'm not really sure what's going on with this, but there was some QC issues or something, so now there's another batch of these out. So this is a G2 type of Minosaur, which I really didn't pay much attention to, but here it is. It's kind of what it looks like when it's combined and all that, but I believe this is a really old design, just put out in a G2 version, and kind of funny they would have QC issues on something that's old, but this is something from ages 3 and up, and I guess they commissioned Fans Project to make this, and they had some issues so along the way, but I should be good to go now. So if you're interested in this project, check out ages 3 and up. Okay, so not much going on with the actual masterpiece this week. I mean, enjoying the new year, I guess, but Lucky Cat has been kind of hinting at these all week long, and just today dropped some pictures of the Microcosmos MCR2 Ricky O combiner. This is a Devastator, and if you don't know, this is kind of one of those cube kind of things that turns into stuff and combines and all that. So pretty cool overall. Just really don't have much pictures other than the bot mode for this one for now, but we do have other pictures for another one. This is the Lucky Cat Microcosmos MC03 Beastmaster, which, I don't know, this kind of looks like some sort of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers kind of thing, but I don't know anything about Power Rangers. I did pick up a Green Ranger this weekend, though, at a toy show, so. Anyhow, it looks pretty cool for what it is. You can add on some wings there, and it starts to look like Monstrous and that kind of stuff from the GoBots Monstrous. Is that what that is? But that's not what this is. This is whatever. It is whatever, I guess. It is Power Rangers or something, but looks interesting. And then here it is down in its beast mode, each beast like this, and so that's kind of cool and interesting. Sort of has a bit of a Voltron vibe to it, sort of has a bit of a GoBots kind of combiner vibe to it, and then it's kind of got something dicey, cubey. It's got the cubes to it, so pretty interesting. It's one of those things that they all turn into cubes too, so it seems like an extra added step. I don't know if it's worth it to turn it into a cube, but they seem to do it every time. And they got a lot of shadow hints at some more stuff to come. So, Extreme Trans. So, it's very interesting what they have going on. I'm curious what's going on in the future, but this stuff doesn't look like this is going to turn into cubes. I don't think. So, Funbeat Studios is making this Signal Lancer from Cybertron, which is... So, I don't know if you want to call this Legends or call it a masterpiece prop maybe, but it turns into a stoplight, a Cybertronian stoplight. Real interesting, and so to go from this kind of wide-looking figure to a stoplight, that's weird. That's strange. Something I don't think's ever really been done before, and that's an interesting concept. And of course, I guess part of that pole turns into a weapon and all that kind of stuff, so very interesting stuff from Funbeat Studios. Okay, so my favorite thing going on in Legends this week is the Zeta Metallic Superion that is coming out, and it looks really good. It does look really good. I'm very impressed with how it looks. I don't know how it acts yet. We'll see how the transformation shouldn't be that bad. The Masterpiece ones were pretty straightforward, more or less. This is how it sort of looks with some other Legends figures in there. What I'm getting from these pictures is that it's not super metallic. I think there's just a few pieces here and there that are painted with an extra accent of metallic, and the rest is going to be more maybe some pearlescent white paint to it. And the legs themselves, they don't look super hyper shiny. I wouldn't mind it being too shiny, but it does look more like the original. It's like Diet Dr. Pepper. It tastes like Dr. Pepper, but it's not. It's more like real Dr. Pepper. But anyway, here's the box, and so this thing should be shipping pretty soon. I did pay for mine, so I'll be taking a look at it very soon. I'm excited for it. By the way, Superion is by far my favorite combiner. Okay, there seems to be several posts about this Iron Studios 2022 Iron Samurai series, and I'm guessing that this is something that just recently came out, since that's how things work in the Transformer community. Something comes out, and a lot of people start taking their pictures of it and stuff. Maybe this hasn't actually hit the US yet, I don't know, but pretty interesting looking, pretty cool. I don't see any alt modes of it or anything, just a couple of different poses in the bot mode, but either this is just now coming out or it's really old. I mean, it's 2022, it's not that old. Okay, so we're getting into some mainline news. The possible Legacy Voyager twin cast and Metal Hawk coming. So the twin cast being a repaint of Blaster and to blue and all that kind of stuff. So BBTS had put a listing up, but as I clicked on them to get more information, they're not there anymore. So the listing is page not found. And maybe they spilled the beans before they should and all this kind of stuff, because we do have a stream coming up pretty soon, and they probably want to announce it then before BBTS spilled the beans. But that's just kind of stuff you have when you have retail partners and stuff like that are eager to get this stuff on their site. But so the theory is this Metal Hawk figure is probably going to be a whole new mold. So that sounds interesting. That sounds pretty cool. And it does look pretty good. The way they're doing Pretenders now is just different than they did it back in the day. So I guess it's a Pretender. I'm going to learn all this stuff as we go, so it'll be kind of fun, right? So I did talk a lot about the HasLab Unicron. I ordered 2 of these myself. I was excited for it. I have mine. The open one is displayed in planet mode, but I never saw this picture of this prototype. I thought I followed it really close. So this is like a prototype picture of Unicron that never was put out during the funding campaign that I ever saw, because I looked at every picture, and I still have a ton of pictures from that funding campaign that I like to refer back to. So I guess I'll put this one and add this one to it. But this is pretty interesting how they just use whatever colors are around as they inject the mold to see that the mold works, because they're probably going to have to make some changes here and there to make sure everything fits and test the fitness of all this stuff. So anyhow, I just find this stuff sort of interesting, and I hope you do too. Same thing with what's going on with the Victory Saber that they were making. And it's strange that they're putting out the photos now after the funding campaign's over and the stuff is already shipped. And now, hey, check this out. I never saw this blue and green version either, but it always is kind of interesting, be kind of fun to maybe get your hands on these prototypes too. That would be interesting also. But I am fascinated with the manufacturing process and how they make this stuff, and that's just constantly I'm trying to learn more and more about that, and this is kind of fun. Now, Star Wars line, they are making the prototype ones with all these different limb colors and all this kind of stuff for, I think right now they're up to a Luke Skywalker is what they're working on right now. But I think a lot of people feel that's lame. Okay, so this is very significant because I've had a lot of people that are keeping up with collecting this Minosaur. If I see one, a component, I buy it. And then I hope I find a deal on Motormaster down the road. But Motormaster right now at Amazon is $100. And you can get one for $100 at Amazon right now for the Motormaster if you're hunting for Motormaster. But I don't know. I expected a sale and I never saw it. And I heard Pulse put it down to like 56 or something, and I missed that. But this is found in California, but the very last component breakdown should be showing up, and oddly enough, that's one of the cooler looking ones too. So anyhow, if you're missing it, start looking for it, get on the hunt. None of these have been hard to find, and once they're released, they show up to retail in decent enough quantities that you can get one. But if you have to go order it on, say, the TF sources and whatever, just to make sure you get it, then maybe you want to go that route. Okay, so January 31st, 11 a.m. Eastern, we're supposed to join Ben and the rest of the Transformers team for the YouTube channel to reveal a stream just packed full of bots that you're going to want to add to your collection. So it's actually been a while since I've done a Transformers live stream, and news has been pretty scarce lately for Transformers, and pretty scarce for a lot of stuff, and it's time for these streams to come out. And I'm kind of cool with the fact that we don't know what's all going to be in it. It's going to be some new stuff we're going to be guessing. I think a lot of people have been guessing lately, and some of that's going to be in this news, what we've been guessing. So that's going to be kind of fun. I'm looking forward to it, and I might just right after that, the very next day, make a recap of that because there's probably going to be a lot of information in there. If there's not a lot of information, it'll wait till Sunday, but that's just kind of my plan for that one. I look forward to it, and I'll probably watch it in real time. So before we go any further into any more news, I am going to talk about Hasbro laying off 15% of its global workforce after a terrible 2022, and that's bad. That's just basically admitting they got problems. Now, here's the thing: this is what happens with companies when they run into this kind of trouble, and they would need to scale back so they can stay around. And that's just the way it is. So here's the official statement. Despite strong growth in Wizards of the Coast and digital gaming, Hasbro Pulse and our licensing business, our consumer products business, underperformed in the fourth quarter against the backdrop of a challenging holiday consumer environment. In other words, broke collectors that don't want to pay massively high prices for lower quality product. That's really what happened. So revenue's down 17% compared to 2021. Of course, 2021 you still had the free funny money floating around out there. So what does this mean? This means that they're not going to be taking any risks, taking any chances, and this is going to roll into my next bigger concern of what's going forward in the future. But this is also going to mean that they're going to have less new tooling budgets for every toy line for the most part. So there's a whole lot that this, like, oh, what do I care? What do you care as a collector? You care as a collector just seeing the same molds over and over and over, and then reusing the same figures and just painting them slightly different, because we're probably going to see a lot more of that going forward. So I'm going to slide into my Dungeons and Dragons talking points. Last week I did report that from TNI News, JC had said that we were going to see Wave 2 up for pre-order on Wednesday. This past Wednesday we did not see that, so it's delayed. I'm concerned that it's not delayed, it's just not going to happen. If they don't put out Wave 2, we don't complete the team, and we have an incomplete team, and then this whole line is a complete and total failure. I mean, it's a failure on quality concern, it's a failure on packaging because you can't even see your figure. It's a failure in a lot of ways for sales-wise, because at every single Walmart around me, they got one case of 8, and all 8 are still sitting there except one Diana sold at one Walmart. Or it just is misplaced. So I'm concerned about that, because not that I want it to sell out immediately and nobody can get what they want. I want people to be able to get what they want, but I'm concerned that we won't get Wave 2. And I really want to see Wave 2. I want to see this team completed, and I'd like to see a few other extra characters thrown in just for fun, but with them in financial trouble, this is a massive risk they took. I'm glad they took it. I full on supported it. I have 3 sets, and I'm going to do the same thing with Wave 2. I full on support it, even with the quality concerns and all that, and they took care of me, but I'm very concerned. Also, we have this Rakor dragon for the movie, and I got people saying that they don't think the movie's going to come out. I think the movie's going to come out. I'm fairly certain it's pretty much close to done. If not done, it'll be out. And so they wouldn't put this much product already out on the shelf if they didn't expect the movie to come out. And during an age where we usually don't see the product from a movie or any sort of content until months later, that they're really going to support this movie here. And so with that, I don't really care about this dragon, but I'd love to see a T-Mat. So $35 is a very reasonable price for this size of a dragon that they're selling. Would love to see a T-Mat. I don't even care if it's open box. Let it be open box. I don't care. Let it have the same type of packaging. But a T-Mat, maybe even up to $50, I'd be in on 3 $50 T-Mats. Getting into G.I. Joe, my Sky Strikers did arrive today. That's exciting. And people are putting theirs on eBay already. Like, that's not my plan at all. I'm holding on to mine. Because there's no other way to get a Sky Striker other than just get a vintage one, because you'll never be able to get one in the store again. So you'll never ever see a Sky Striker in the store for the rest of your life, and your natural life, that is. And so with that, you got to hold tight to these. I bet you they will put this mold back out in different colors, and like a Knife Force version or something, but we won't see a traditional one ever again. made ever again. Not another HasLab. There'll never be another traditional one in the stores. You might get a Jetfire version. You might get a like a black one or a blue one or a red one or a green one. But you won't get one like this again. So people are taking advantage of that and just basically splitting it out and selling just the figures. So I see people selling just the figures for 300 or just the Sky Striker for 300. So they're either way they want to double their money, which is kind of what's going to happen with this situation. And I'm glad I went in on two of these because I love the figures and that they're all individually carded and all of that, which there was still some question, even though they said they were going to be individually carded, the fact they didn't have the mock-ups, that I didn't see all the mock-ups of it, but this looks fantastic right here. And this is like one of the later pictures, I guess, later in the funding that they showed, or at an SDCC or something, but quite exciting if it's showing up. And if you're in on this, this is the best time to buy is when they flood the market. You're going to see a flood of people trying to sell these. And if you want to get a specific figure or whatever, this is the just let them cannibalize themselves. Let those sellers cannibalize themselves and fight each other for the lowest price. Because that's what's going to happen until they sell through and then the prices will start going back up. Okay, so I really want to touch real quick while we're talking about G.I. Joe on Retro Series. Now, I did take a picture. This is a very interesting picture that I took before Destro and Gung Ho showed up. They changed the name to Destro and Gung Ho on the pegs, but still had Baroness and Lady J. But we did get case, if not multiple cases per store, of Destro and Gung Ho, which is a good thing. I thought these shelf warmers would clog up the shelf. But the fact that they're actually using the skew of the figures coming in, and the figures are coming in per case, not as an assortment, it's really helping out the fact that you can get new figures in. And it's exciting to get those, even though, yes, it's yesterday's news, but not everybody picked them up, and so now they're available to buy. This gives me hope for Storm Shadow, for the Retro Crimson Guard, for the Zartan, for the whatever else is coming on this card back. It gives me hope we'll find those in the store, and I say finding them in the store is 100 times better than rolling the dice with shipping. Okay, so there's some news coming up. So, information about new classified 6-inch figures for 2023. This is an Agent Helix from the IDW G.I. Joe comic series. So are you shocked they're going to be throwing something else in that's not part of the G.I. Joe, A Real American Hero? I understand that. It's like a comic cure kind of thing and more stuff, but maybe this is going to be a cool figure. I'm going to give them the benefit of the doubt. And then there's going to be a G.I. Joe Troop Builder Pack, which possibly will have a Jetpack Trooper in it and probably have green troopers in it. Who knows? Who knows? Starduster in there, anybody? And we're going to have some boring green dudes in there. Who knows? But Joes are outnumbered. There's troops and troops of bats and vipers and alley vipers and all that kind of stuff coming out, and just single characters for the Joes. Joes need a troop builder, but what do you think? So here's something that's we don't usually see on this block, the Pound Puppies. So I just was walking along Target and I saw just an end cap of Pound Puppies. I didn't even know it was something, a thing. They were making it, but I guess everything 80s is coming back again. And so I saw them. I took this picture. I went back the next day and they're pretty much all gone. And not only is it a thing they just brought back through on an end cap, but it's popular. Or one person bought them all. I don't know. But it surprised me to see it. But there you go. Pound Puppies. Why can't they do this with, like, My Pet Monster? That would be so awesome and so popular. That'd be amazing. Okay, so we've got Masters of the Universe stuff going on this week. So this is called Bear Brick. And this was a secret sell. I didn't know anything about it. And I'm going to tell you what I think about it. And then I'm going to tell you what you can make of it. So I think that there's Bear Brick collectors that like to collect Bear Brick, and they want to get as many franchises and properties as they want. I don't think that Masters of the Universe collectors that are wanting the most realistic or cartoon version of the character are going for this. This is not what it's made for. This is made for Bear Brick collectors that go from franchise to franchise and add more franchises to their collection. This is made in the standard 1-to-1 scale, and it's a 4x, 4 times the size scale, and they're both included for $200. So scales are $200. He-Man's 200. Skeletor sold out. I don't know if He-Man sold out just yet or not. Maybe he did. And this is on Mattel Creations' site. Now, With this, I have no interest in this, but I don't want to, rain on anyone's parade or do anything to anyone's Wheaties or anything. If you are in a Bear Brick collector, like I'm so happy you get something new to put in your collection. It's fantastic. This is not for me at all. I'm not going to buy it. But this is where I think the dividing line is between a collector and a scalper. A scalper would say, I don't want that at all in my collection, but I'm going to buy it and flip it. A collector looks at that and says, I'm not going to have anything to do with it. If you collect it and you don't collect this, you won't be part of it. So that's what I find for me is the difference between a scalper and a collector, because I'm not touching it. Because let the people who really want it have it, because I don't want it. But as soon as this popped up, I heard so many people saying, you can buy it and double your money. You can buy it and double your money. And I'm like, I don't care. Okay, so we get the Mega Constructs, and this is the Masters Universe Mega Constructs uh, Stag Mountain. Now, this was originally 300 and something, and like 320. It's on Amazon now for 240. So a lot of people were speculating what's going to happen to all this stuff that's stuck on Mattel Creations that doesn't sell. So like the He-Man 4-pack and then this, what's going to happen to it? Well, they're going to send it to other retailers, and the retailers are going to sell it for cheaper. So it appears that Mattel Creations won't mark it down themselves, but they'll offload a large portion of what doesn't sell there to a retailer, so the retailer can sell it cheaper. And they've done this before with some stuff that the Entertainment Earth exclusive of the Palace Guard to Big Lots, and so this is the kind of thing going on with Master Universe. But personally, I don't understand how you could sell these little $5 to $20 kits and expect someone to turn around and drop $300. Like, I'm buying $5 and $20 stuff because I'm being cheap, and then you get to drop a $320 playset on me. That makes no sense. Right here in the world of Star Wars, we do have this. It's the Morphe's auction for toys and sports cards, collectibles, and stuff. So here's kind of the official word on this, and what they're saying is that you can register online, and then you can place your early bid, and then there's going to be a live auction starting in 3 days and 10 hours. So by the time you watch this, in about 2 days and 10 hours, 2.5 days or something like that. So it's going to start February 1st at 8 a.m., and it's just a one-day auction. So with that, I mean, every single thing they list, they're wanting like $300 or $400 to starting bid, and I mean, this is going to be millions. This is going to be in the millions. That's going to be total made off of this. It's phenomenal collection that's going through, and so there's already like those first early bids, and they have estimates on this stuff of most of those hitting 1,600, 2,000. It's crazy what's going to happen with this. But anyhow, if you look there on the top left, that is a case of 24 Empire Strikes Back Yodas. That's insane, but I'm not part of this at all. I'm not in on this. I'm not in on even the low end of the starting bid. I'm not willing to pay that for any of this stuff. I collected it. I got my stuff cheaper than what their starting bid is on any of these, and I don't want to be part of it. But if you want to be part of it, I mean, you need to bring some dough or some credit cards, plural. All right, stepping into the new millennium here. that's last millennium's toys we're looking at. We're in a new millennium now. So this is the next wave of Black Series, and so there it is. It's starting to show up. If you're interested in it, pick it up. If you're like me, you're just going to sit and wait and see which ones hit clearance and maybe pick them up. That's where I'm at with every Black Series release, unless it is the retro card back. I just did get my pre-order in stock at BBTS for my Wicket on the 40th anniversary card back, so I'm all in on those 40th anniversary card backs. Are you like me and thought that a Cantina playset, the Navarro one from 2 years ago, for $50 was too much? Well, now you can go to Walmart and get it for $30. So yeah, there's plus they do charge a shipping though that you can't get around for whatever reason. So probably a third-party seller that picked up a whole bunch of them. But anyhow, go to Walmart.com and you can get this Navarro playset for $29.89, and it's still that price as I'm recording this. It's not a bad playset. It's not really a playset. It's just an environment. But the price was bad. $50 was too much. 30 is exactly what it's worth, and 20 or less is a good deal. So there's a Transformers fan stream. There's a Star Wars fan stream on February 1st. So a lot of fun stuff to see. I hope. Hopefully it's fun. Hopefully it's not really bad. But are they at the exact same time? Because I just looked at the Transformers one and it said 11. And so that's January 31st is Hasbro Pulse for Transformers. February 1st is Star Wars. So 2 different days. Okay, got that. Got it, Roger. Hopefully something good comes out of this. I hope to see that. So what do you think about this week's Weekly News and Review? It is a bit light of a week, but still a lot going on, even on a light week. Let me know in the comments below what else is cool going on out there. Like and subscribe. Today, Hanger out. Okay, so if you're still with me, then you are okay to listen to this political collecting situation here where the IRS is delaying the implementation of the $600 reporting threshold for third-party payment platforms for 1099K forms. Now, here's the thing. What does this mean? This means that in 2022, if you were like, oh, well, they're just going to tax me on it no matter what, let me sell $80,000 worth of stuff, then you could have still stayed under the threshold of 20,200 items. You could have had that opportunity, but you didn't know it. They didn't tell you till December 23rd. I did watch several videos of tax professionals discussing this topic, and I did a little bit of research myself, as in going straight to the IRS website. So what they say is that the IRS, this is what the IRS says, that the IRS and Treasury heard a number of concerns regarding the timeline of implementation of these changes under the American Rescue Plan. So that's exactly how I feel there. So what does all of that mean? So what it basically means is that they weren't able to execute this. They wanted to, but they couldn't. And what are the concerns that they heard? They heard concerns from, and let me make sure I'm saying this right, the coalition of the 1099K Fairness Coalition that's headed by eBay and other corporations. So corporate America is fighting for the little guy in this situation, and someone's got to fight for the little guy. The IRS claims that they wanted to do this so that the highest earners, the billionaires, will pay their fair share. But no American citizen believes that, because Americans can look and see that $600 or $20,000 doesn't affect $3 billion a year net earnings and all that kind of stuff. That doesn't affect that. So why are they targeting the people that are selling like this? A lot of these people are the Uber drivers. We're not even talking about collectors selling. It's the Uber drivers that understand that their gas bill just doubled. The rate of gas nearly doubled. Even if they use the same amount month to month, their bill doubled. And so a lot of them are struggling just to heat their homes. And they were targeting those people specifically and going after them, the lower income earners. And so, I mean, that's heinous in my opinion. But eBay stood up for those people. Corporate America stood up for the little guy in this situation. And you're not seeing this on the news. You don't see this on Channel 7. David Muir's not talking about this. And, and every single day I question, why is this not being talked about? And it's not being talked about other than people that actually care about the community. And I care about the community. And if people know about this stuff and don't talk about it, that's anti-community. Or they're just ignorant that it's going on. So I'm talking about it. In my research for this, because I wanted to have as much information as possible, I also found out that eBay lobbied against this bill, and this one is called the Integrity, Notification, and Fairness in Online Retail Marketplaces for Consumers Act. And they shortened it to the Informed Consumers Act. Now, the Informed Consumers Act, which was introduced in March of 2021, they were expecting to have passed it by now, and they have passed a revised version of this. But what they were going to put on there was your bank account numbers. So let me back this up. They were going to put on your listings for anyone to casually come by and look. If you have one $5 missile listed or a dollar missile listed for G.I. Joe or something along that lines, then your bank account number is listed, your government issued identification, which is your social security number, your tax identification number, your contact information with your home personal address, your phone number, and why not just throw your birthday on there too and just make it a dream come true for identity thieves. So it blows my mind that one person would have thought this up and drafted it. I fall out of my chair thinking a second human being on the planet thought this was a good idea, and I'm so glad. And hey, I'm shocked too that corporations are lobbying against this for us, for freedom. Consider that.